I'm Michael Fox, and this is the Prospector Podcast, and we're on location at the Mining Expo in Quebec City, and I am sitting across from returning guest Ted Elwood, the president and CEO at Pelatin Minerals. Welcome back to the podcast, Ted.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, it's we haven't done one of these in a while, so it's probably a good time for us to be doing it. And you got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about today. But before we do that, let's tell the listeners a little bit about Pelatin so that they understand what you are.
Pelatin is a junior exploration company. We specialize in, exploring for deposits. We got onto a lithium prospect early 23 in northern Nevada, northeastern Nevada, when by happen chance, a company by the name of Surge Battery Metals discovered a very rich lithium deposit immediately adjacent to claims that we had held for a number of years. And we started relooking at our geology and realized that we had something very similar. Since then, we've done an awful lot of work. I think since we last had our conversation, we've spent about $1 million on exploration. So there's going to be a lot to update you on today.
Yeah, it's an interesting area in Nevada. It's a very long, deep valley, and at the bottom of this valley, there's a very large clay deposit of lithium up and down the valley. You mentioned Surge there briefly, but the big player in all of this is Lithium Americas, who essentially had a large investment by GM trying to secure the lithium for their domestic battery production. What makes clay lithium so attractive to people like GM and to mining companies?
There's a few reasons. One of them is in Lithium Americas' case, it's the size. I mean, it's the biggest lithium resource in North America. The other thing is that it's right at surface, or pretty much. So it's an open pit mine, which is an inexpensive, method of operation. But also they are big enough that they can afford the capital required to bring the production to a final product that GM can use in its batteries for its cars. And just to give you an idea on the economics of that end product is called lithium carbonate, and that's currently trading around $11,000 US per ton. So that's what GM pays for it. Would pay Lithium Americas for it. In contrast, many of the lithium deposits in the past, the pegmatites, they're too small to produce an end product, to justify the capital to produce an end product right on site. So they end up selling a concentrate to an end processor. Most of it goes to China. The typical price for a ton of lithium concentrate is only about $900. So the difference in the economics is $900 versus $11,000 in terms of your end product. That's the main thing. The other thing is that they are cheap to mine compared to many other types of products or mines, underground or what have you. Lithium America, in their feasibility study, they're projecting an all-in cash cost of $6,500 per ton of lithium carbonate that they produce. And that's against a 52-week low of $11,000 on the lithium carbonate market. Long-term average, they're expecting a long-term average of about $22,000 per ton of lithium carbonate over the life of their production, which, believe it or not, they're going to produce for 85 years. That's how big that deposit is. And their free cash flow, I don't remember the number exactly, but it's right around $3 billion per year. That's a pretty big number. When you could make $3 billion a year for the next 85 years, it's certainly a deposit worth putting into production and pursuing, in our case, from an exploration standpoint.
Yeah, now we're continuing to talk about Lithium Americas. They have a partnership with General Motors. How much of the battery technology that GM is expecting to put in their cars is going to come from the lithium that Lithium Americas is going to provide out of that northern end of the valley?
Well, according to GM's stated needs, Lithium America is only going to be able to provide about half of what GM expects that it's going to need. So GM itself, for its own internal demand, is going to need another Lithium America to keep its demand supplied. And that overall in the United States doesn't count Ford and all the other car companies that are manufacturing in the United States and the battery companies. So that northern part of Nevada, where you're seeing these lithium in clay type deposits, that really has I think it's going to become the breadbasket of lithium for the United States. None of that lithium that's being produced or that will be produced in northern Nevada will ever leave the United States unless it leaves in a car and a battery, you know.
Yeah, and it's important because that production stays in the United States, and it helps break some of the Chinese monopoly on the electric batteries for these vehicles.
Exactly. The securing the supply chain is critical for that entire industry and for all the other uses for lithium and batteries in the United States. You know, it's inconceivable nowadays that if you're thinking about buying an electric drill, you wouldn't even dream about buying one with a cord on it. You'd always buy a rechargeable, and that's you know, all kinds of electric tools. Battery storage is becoming a huge thing. All of the windmills are being retrofitted now to put a large lithium battery storage unit onto those windmills, so that when the wind isn't blowing, that's about the electricity is storing in there. So the demand for lithium, it's growing. The EV market overall last year globally grew by 29%. It only grew about 5% in North America, but you know, that's in other areas of the world that EV technology is being adopted very, very quickly. And so that's why GM is projecting such a need for lithium in the upcoming future.
And where are the other automakers in all of this? Are they leaning in to be looking for their Lithium Americas as well to secure their supply chain?
Definitely. The Ford has struck a deal with one of the other Nevada projects further to the south. You know, and we've had preliminary discussions, nothing serious, but with a vast range of these, both car companies and battery companies, they know that we have a very promising project, so they want to at least get their foot in the door and introduce themselves. Now they know that as we move forward and we bring in discovery, we're going to be picking a partner at some point, and you know, it's something that they're aware of, and we certainly are, and you know, we would look for a partner like Ford or GM or something to help us advance the project to its full capacity or potential.
Wonderful. Let's talk about your project. Right now, you've got a vast land mass. You've got a bunch of clay, which you think lithium is in, but there's been no drills turned yet.
Right.
But you've done an awful lot of exploration, and a lot of exploration since you and I last talked on one of these podcasts. So
Right.
let's bring everybody up to speed with the exploration that's been done and what that has said about your project and how that's making you look forward to what you're going to do next.
Right. Well, since we last spoke, as I mentioned, we spent about $1 million on exploration, and that went into all the typical basic things that you should do before you ever go and put a drill in the ground, because drilling is the most expensive part of the whole equation. That included, you know, at least 3 kinds of geophysics. We did a complete soil geochemistry sampling program over the entire property. The entire property, by the way, right now is 442 claims. So that equates to 37 square kilometers or almost 14 and a half square miles. So it's not small. Surge next door that made the initial discovery, they're roughly about the same size, maybe a little bit bigger in terms of land mass. And I guess just speaking to the property itself, We own 100% of it. There's no private land and cluttering our ground position. And we also are royalty free. So there's no royalties outstanding should we put something into production. Coming back to the exploration, as I mentioned, we've done a series of different things. And we've proven a number of things so far. We've proven that the environment we're in is perfect for the type of lithium clay deposit we're looking for. Typically, these things form in an old lake, historic lake, millions of years ago, either in the bottom of a caldera or a closed system. And the lithium accumulates in there over the years. It concentrates in clay that forms in the bottom of the lake. And so we've proven that we're in that exact environment, which is identical to what Surge next door is in. And in fact, we're probably in the same historic lake. But also we've proven there's a secondary source of lithium enrichment coming from magmatic, down in the earth, deep in the earth, that's enriched that as well. So that explains some of the high grade that occurs in northern Nevada, where across the top of northern Nevada, you've got, as you mentioned, you've got Lithium America, you've got Surge, and now you've got us. We're the youngest of the three, I guess, if you want to call it that, in terms of how far we're advanced. We're the third car on the train, if you want to put it that way. The Surge, or pardon me, LAC is the engine. They're leading the charge. They're going to be the first serious lithium in clay deposit put into production in North America. And at their forecasted output, they're going to be the biggest producer in North America, or pardon me, in the world, tied for production with another facility in Argentina. And then there's Surge coming along, and then we're behind. We have the advantage of learning from both Surge and LAC in terms of what worked for them and what didn't. So we're taking advantage of that in our exploration. And I guess what we've concluded over this past year in terms of exploration, we have a clay target or a clay layer that's underlying almost the entire property. It's 35 square kilometers, so it's almost the entire property, 14 square miles. That's a huge target. And if you think of it like a flat lying bed of material, like a coal seam almost, it's continuous, it's homogeneous, it goes forever. And so if that is mineralized, that's going to be every bit as big as the Lithium America deposit. From the mineralization standpoint, we know from the soil geochemistry that we've got a serious elevated lithium anomaly right on top of the center of the whole project or property or target. And so that bodes very well for the prospect. As I mentioned, we're pretty well convinced that we're in the same lake as Surge, and it's in all likelihood this clay layer is an extension of what they've discovered on their side of the claim boundary.
Just to clarify, when you say lake, this is a dry lake bed, because we are in Nevada, where whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. No, there is no water here. This is a dry lake bed that's long since dissipated over the years. Let's talk about the summer. You're finally going to get drills to turn. Given the nature of this kind of project with this clay lithium anomaly, which was at the bottom of the old lake bed, means it's near surface. How deep does the drills actually have to go to find all the lithium in this?
Well, from our geophysical surveys, the overburden is roughly 10 to 20 feet thick. So the drill has to go down about 10 or 20 feet in order to get into the clay layer, which is where we think the lithium would be contained. From the geophysics, we're seeing that clay layer down to about 300 feet. That's the limit of that particular type of geophysics. We think it extends probably quite a bit deeper. But that having been said, typically these, like with Surge's case next door, it's the upper layers of clay that carry the grade. So, for example, their feasibility or their resource estimate only calculated down to about 350 feet in an open pit, and they've ended up with it's an enormous amount. It's 11 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent. If you can believe it or not, the in situ value of what Surge has next door to us, or in other words, the value of the metal in the ground without counting processing costs, etc., is roughly at today's carbonate prices about $118 billion. That's more than any mine in Nevada has ever produced, and that I can calculate. Lithium America, further to the west, that's now funded by the government and by GM. They've got an in situ value of almost 600 billion with a B. And so when you get these homogeneous clay layers that go forever, that are thick and huge, there's a tremendous value that can come out of them, and so that's why we're saying that northern part of Nevada is going to become the breadbasket of lithium for the United States.
Yeah, that sounds like enough lithium to fulfill the rest of GM's needs and probably another car company's.
A small car company.
Smaller one, yes. Maybe not a Ford, but maybe a Nissan.
Yeah, yeah.
The summer plan, how big is it? How many holes? And I'm hearing you're going to go down about 350 feet per hole.
Not initially. We will be doing some of that during the course of the program. It's kind of in two stages. The first pass, we're permitted right now for 24 drill pads or 24 drill holes. We could probably, under the limits of our permit, we could probably triple that without, whether it would basically be just an amendment. But we'll start with those 24 on drilling to fairly shallow, maybe 100, 110 feet. And we're going to use a certain type of drill where we can do it quickly and inexpensively. So we'll get a good pass on almost the entire 37 square kilometers. And then in a phase 2 this summer, we'll come back with a deeper drill, probably reverse circulation, and we'll drill those holes to 300, 400 feet. With a homogeneous clay layer like that, you don't necessarily have to drill every one to depth. You can get a first pass and then drill, say, every third one to a deeper level, because you pretty much these things are very homogeneous, and they know what's in between is going to be the same. So.
Wonderful. What's the size dollar wise of this drill program, and is it currently funded?
Well, the total budget for both phases and operating and have you is $1.5 million Canadian. We're busy raising that right now. That's partially why we're here at the mining event of the North. We were here last year. We got a very good response, and we've been able to update a number of shareholders and investors. So we're getting great response in terms of participating in the financing. We don't think that it'll be a problem in terms of closing it all. Although we're always looking for good, solid investors that can work with us as we move forward in the long term.
Wonderful. If you're an accredited investor out there, reach out to the company through their website. If you wish to participate in the placement, it's open to both Canadian and American residents.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. We expect results from this drill program when?
We'll be drilling starting in July, probably mid-July. We should be getting the initial results out mid-August, late August, and they will continue into September. We've also got results coming from an airborne geophysical survey we just flew last week, and another big X-ray diffraction program that we've been working on for a number of months. And then phase 2 will kick in the fall. That's where we start drilling deeper. And so you're pretty much going to see results coming and news flow coming all throughout the whole year. So
It's exciting times for the company, and we're, we kind of imagine what we know that what's underneath all the ground cover, but we're soon going to find out, and it's going to be a wild ride.
Right.
If people do want to follow the company, how do they do so, Ted?
Our website is pelatinminerals.com. We trade on the Canadian Securities Exchange. The symbol is PMC. We also trade in the United States on the over-the-counter QB market. The symbol there is PMCCF. And my contact information is on the website. You're more than welcome to give me a call or send me an email. We're happy to receive inquiries and questions, what have you.
Yeah, and as I say, people, follow CEOs that respond to you, and Ted's one of those CEOs. So I appreciate your time at the conference, and I look forward to seeing these results as they come out here late summer, early fall.
Yeah, same here.
Wonderful. Take care, Ted.
Okay, thanks.
Pelatin Minerals is a paid sponsor of the Prospector News. The host owns shares and warrants in Pelatin Minerals bought at the market for investment purposes. The Prospector News podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.